Good evening, folks. It's Carl here. This is ENTP 7311. This is the national support session for assignment 2. It feels a bit weird. I haven't given you feedback on assignment 1, but we're already looking at assignment 2. If you look at the dates, I don't see you next week, and then I see you again on the 1st, and this assignment is due on the 7th. And I feel it's a bit close together for me to see you on the 1st, and then less than a week later, you've got a hand in this assignment. So that's why I'm doing the national support session now. I will probably, on the 1st, give you feedback, because that's when we meet again. I'll give you feedback on the first assignment, and there'll then be enough time for you to correct errors and so on. You'll probably by, let's say, just after the weekend, you should have your feedback, or the mark should be ready for assignment 1. Okay, so this is the second assignment. Let's get into it. Let's have a look at what you're supposed to do. And I'm looking at the next slide, and there's an error. Check that date. Check the 12th of May, because that date is so wrong. It's just not funny. I will correct this in a message to you as well. But check PAS. I don't know why the 12th of May, but in any case, it is the 7th, as I recall, as the PAS stands now. Please, please, please check your PAS. Go make sure the date, but I will send you a message as well. Remember, it needs to go through SafeAssign. Please make sure that your referencing is correct, that it's the Harvard style as used by Varsity College. If you're not sure, please speak to the librarians, to the information specialists. Also keep in mind that there are very specific rules around using AI. If you do use AI, as I said previously, I'm not opposed to AI if you understand what you're doing and using it correctly. Copy and pasting or asking it questions is not the correct way to use AI. You need to disclose that, and you need to reference it, and you need to do it in the correct way. Please make sure that you understand what that means. So, you hand in one document. This document includes Annexure A, which I'm going to speak to now, and it includes the question 2.1 and 2.2, as well as an introduction and a conclusion. You reference this, and if you want to do appendices, do that. We're not very big on pictures and lots of appendices and so on, so most students don't use that. But you have got 2,000 to 2,500 words to do this in. The word count is enough. You don't need more than that. It's plenty word count. You should be able to write what's required quite comfortably. This assignment that we're going to do builds directly on the first assignment, right? So the first assignment, you came up with that web app type of thing, solving one of those MDG goals. This one, where that one was targeted more at the government sources, this one is targeted at the people that are going to use it. So when you're thinking about it, when you are considering how you're going to approach this, please keep in mind that the reader of this is a person who is going to use the app. Okay? So the first thing that you need to do is you are supposed to create a LinkedIn profile. Now, to do this LinkedIn profile, you need to show an understanding about how social media works, what people use social media for, and what LinkedIn specifically is used for. Now, the instruction says create a LinkedIn profile, right? Now, I am hesitant, and we have clarified this previously. You don't have to create a LinkedIn profile. The reason for this is you're going to get asked to do a lot of things in that LinkedIn profile, and if you do those, or if you already have a LinkedIn profile that's working for you, it could create a problem for you in terms of the traction that your social media is getting for real life. And we don't want an assignment to affect your real life traction that you're getting with your LinkedIn profile. So instead of doing this LinkedIn profile, you can do the dummy profile. And my recommendation for you is do the dummy profile, right? And what you use for the dummy profile is Annexure A. So Annexure A is part of the assignment. That's what it looks like. And I know the writing is very small on there, so you are welcome, and I encourage you to please go look in the assignment what Annexure A looks like. So the first thing you need to do is you put your name and surname in the first block at the top, and you put a then they ask for your LinkedIn URL. If you decide to create a LinkedIn profile and you want to do it with a real profile, please put the profile in there. I'm not concerned if that is blank, right? Because as I said, I don't want you to take your real LinkedIn profile and hurt your traction that you've got on that profile. The next thing that you're expected to do, and I'm going to skip to the other slide because you obviously can't read what's saying there, but please use this format in doing it. It just makes it easier for you. It makes it easier for me. Use an appropriate picture of yourself. So in other words, decide what an appropriate picture is for social media. It's clearly not one where you're hanging out with your friends in a bar, having a beer, or cheering on a sports team or something like that. So place an appropriate picture for you. I have had students in the past that said, geez, now I've got to go get somebody to take a picture, a special picture of me, and it's going to cost me a lot of money. No, there are very easy ways in which you can take a pretty professional looking photo of yourself. It's not very difficult. Use your ingenuity and get a nice picture there that looks appropriate, professional picture. The next thing you have to do is identify 5 entrepreneurial skills, right? Now, identifying the 5 entrepreneurial skills is not enough. You need to explain why you believe you possess those 5 skills. In other words, you need to list them in Annexure A, in the document that we call Annexure A, let's call it your LinkedIn table. And in that LinkedIn table, you need to say what those skills are and why you believe you possess them. Next thing is you need to look for 5 connections that you could make via LinkedIn. Please, guys, don't make those connections. It can be individuals, organizations that you would then would like to connect with. Tell me why. But please, guys, do not contact them. Even if you have a real LinkedIn profile, do not contact them, because obviously people are going to be frowning at you if you're busy just doing an assignment. Now you're contacting people and trying to create a link for these. You do have to show me the link to each one, so you need to link to their profile. Tell me what the link is in your LinkedIn table, or the so-called Annexure A. Then look at 5 people that you would like to connect with, 5 influencers. And remember, now we're dealing with your app that you've developed. So you need to find 5 influencers, 5 people that make the world move in your app, right? So whatever, if you've gone for, say, water, you need to find 5 people in the world of water that you would like to speak to and that you would follow, and tell me why you would follow them. What are these guys doing? Who are they? And then lastly, for the LinkedIn part, you've got to find 3 articles on your social issue. And you've got to do a brief summary of 250 words of each one of those. And you've obviously got to give me a URL to the actual topic, so that I can find that, to the actual article, so that I can find that article and see if your overview of 250 words is correct for that. So please make sure that you do give me links to all of those articles and links to the entrepreneurial influencers, the beneficial connections. I need to, just a list is not going to give you any marks. Just a list with a link is not going to give you any mark. A list with a link and a motivation of why, now we're talking marks. Now it's not starting to look good. Are there any questions around the LinkedIn profile? Anything you need to know? Anything you want to ask? Okay, happy days. Okay, we're moving on to the next part. Now we're getting into question 2. So please ensure that you have an overall cover page on the front. Then you use your profile, you use your document. Yes, Anishka, if you want to use your own profile, go ahead and use it. I don't have a problem with that. My concern is just that if you're going to use your own profile, so I've had in the past people that have had app ideas for businesses that they already own, and they've used their normal LinkedIn profile, and they've made those connections and everything. I have no problem with that. I'm just afraid if you've got a dummy product and you're creating links to people, and that it can backfire on you and it can hurt your actual profile. And that's why I'm saying you're welcome to use the dummy or the so-called Annex A. If you want to use your own profile, please go ahead. I have no problem with that. All you'll do then, you'll go do all of those things in your profile, and you'd give the just copy the stuff into your Annex A. So yeah, no problem with that. As long as you've got everything in the Annex A, you need to have it in Annex A. That's what I'm actually telling you. No, you won't be posting. You won't be posting. But remember, things like the articles, you need to go find the articles. You still have to complete the Annex A, whether you use your LinkedIn profile, whether you create a profile really, or you just use the Annex A. You still have to hand in Annex A. Okay, cool. Question 2. Cover page, right at the front, then your Annex A, then we get into the introduction to the report part, which is question 2. So sort of briefly give an overview of the app again. Briefly, so tell us, what does the app do? What is the app? Why is it important? Why is the app worthwhile doing? What does it solve? You need to then speak briefly about why is social media important, and then briefly talk to revenue and pricing. That's it, right? Then you move on to the actual questions. So question 2.1 reads, revenue models will influence who your customers are and how you will reach them. There are 4 main revenue drivers that an organization can utilize to achieve greater revenues. As the founder of your mobile IT application, you are required to discuss how the 4 drivers of revenue will be utilized to generate revenue for your business and provide practical examples to support your answer. So what we need to do is we need to use those 4 drivers, which is customers, in other words, the people that are going to use your app, the frequency, how regularly people will use it, what process you're going to use to sell it, and the price. Those 4 things are what you're going to discuss here. But remember, please, go to your textbook and go to find for each one of those 4 an additional source. And give a sentence or 2 just telling me what does customers mean in the context of drivers of revenue. Why is customers are drivers of revenue? After that, we're going into how does this work for your app? Why does it work like this way? How will these revenue drivers, how will you utilize them to make your app more popular, to make your app better, to make more money, or whatever you're going to do? So please remember, a long theoretical discussion about what customers' frequency, selling process, and price, even if supported by 2 or 3 sources for each one of them, is not going to get you many marks. It is, we want to see the practical application of those 4 things into your on your app, and that's why I'm happy to give them to you. I wouldn't be giving away anything because it's of little consequence. You need to use the application part to gain the marks. Question 2.2 is, what is the pricing strategy, which you'll find in figure 9.6 and around figure 9.6 in the textbook, not the revenue strategy. Pricing and revenue are 2 different things. Will you use and why will you use? Now, there's a whole host of things. You'll find this page 220, 225, 26, somewhere around about there in the textbook. And it's pricing strategies are things like competition-led, where your competition determines what the price is, or customer-led, where your customer decides what the price is. Or you could have a loss leader. I hope you can still remember what that is. An introductory offer where you come in on a relatively low price to get the people to buy the product initially. So in an app, that would mean the first year is 10 Rand, or the first month is 10 Rand or 20 Rands, and after that it's 100 Rand a month. You can have a skimming strategy, which is where you ask a really expensive price because it's unique, there's no competitors. The psychological one, that's that one that where something costs $9.99 and people think they're paying 9 Rand when they're actually paying 10 Rand. A fair pricing strategy is another one, which is the market determines it and it is free for what the product is. And then I think the last one is bundled pricing, where you bundle the product with something else. So go look at those. What is the relevant pricing strategy for your why is that a relevant one for you? Now you have to explain why you've done this chosen this pricing strategy. And then once again, you need to apply it to your app. And how will you use it? Why is it good for your app? Why will your app be able to flourish and do well because of your the pricing strategy that you've used? How will this make the app more wonderful? More people want to use it. Make the app more popular, guys. And then you write a conclusion. And in the conclusion, you talk about social media pricing and revenue ensure the success of the mobile app. So it's basically a brief summary, 250, maybe 300 words, if that long. And then remember, please go back, check your referencing. Use a tool like Grammarly. And Grammarly is considered these days as AI. And I'm happy if you just go look at, remember, you need to look at AI and how you're supposed to use AI. But I'm happy with Grammarly if you simply say, put a disclaimer that says Grammarly was used to edit my spelling and my language. I'm happy for that. Happy with that as far as Grammarly's go, not as far as the other AIs goes. And make sure you submit it early, that you look at plagiarism. Typical, the similarity reports for this will be quite low, because there's a short piece of theory with each one of the questions, but it's all about your app, the way it's going to work for your app. So typically, I don't expect a very high similarity. Guys, this is a very straightforward assignment. There's not much to it. It's simply going to find the theory and apply it to your specific assignment and to your specific application. Any questions? Anything further you want to know? I've got my email up there again. Once again, people, please send me an email. Thanks, Anishka. I'm going to answer that now. If you want to send me, just make sure you say in the subject line ENTP7311W, just so I know. I've teach a number of classes, so I know who which class this question comes from. Okay. The one last thing I do want to talk about as well is ICE. You guys need to start working on your ICE. I will send out in the next day or two confirmation of when the ICE is due. It'll probably be due to the middle of next month, so the middle of October. But please do yourselves a favor, start working through those ICE. I've got to start marking the ICE and releasing answers as well. And the problem is I don't like releasing answers when people haven't done their ICE. I don't want to start saying, okay, I'm removing that ICE, you can't do this one anymore, and then you can't get marks for certain of the ICEs. I want you to have the opportunity to do them. So please make work of those ICE. There is a long weekend coming up, or public holiday at least. For me, it's a long weekend because I've got the Monday off. But you can use that public holiday. The ICE, if you do those ICE. I chose the ICE in such a manner that they support you for the assignment. So please go look at those ICE tasks and do them timeously, and get them off your radar. You guys have got enough other work to keep you busy, not to have to worry about ICE right at the end when you're handing in more assignments, you're starting to study for exams and so on. So get the ICE off your plates, please, folks. Okay, that's it from my side. If there's no further questions, please go listen to this recording again and listen to it as you write. I find the students that do that have a much better chance on success in the assignment. The key thing is this: application, application, application. Put a little bit of theory down there just so that you show me I understand what this thing means. And remember, with the pricing, when you're going to choose pricing strategy, you can't use 4 different pricing strategies. So that question is going to get pretty chunky, because you've got to choose one of those pricing strategies, and you've then got to write a motivation around that pricing strategy. Why does it work for your app? And if you think of the total length of this assignment, you're going to probably be spending 750 words roundabout there on that question 2.2, motivating why that is the one that you're going to use. So be aware that's a bit of a chunky one that you've got to write. Okay, any more questions? Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks, Anushka. Keep well. Bye-bye.